Hello, bonjour, Alberta. Did you know that at least 238,000 people speak français in Alberta? And those numbers just keep on growing? Oui, oui, c'est vrai, it's true. And thanks to Shaw TV Community Access Programming, we get to reach out to everyone to let you know all about special people, places, events, and activities happening right here in this great province, in both English and en français. That's right, mes amis. We begin the first part of our program in English, and then we repeat it en français. So stay with us. Restez à l'écoute.
Welcome, everyone, to Hello, Bonjour, Alberta. I'm Anne Boiteau.
And I'm Marc Lalonde.
And tonight we are still celebrating the 60th anniversary of the twinning of Calgary and Quebec City, season 11. And we welcome with us tonight Mariya,
Farhan, yes.
Farhan.
Thank you.
Who is the Vice President of Canadian Parents for French, Calgary chapter. And Kristin Singer, who is the treasurer for that same organization.
That's correct.
Welcome,
You're
ladies.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So, Mariya, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from and where you learned French, if it wasn't your mother tongue, and how you got to this position.
Well, I'm from Pakistan. Got married. My husband was already in Canada, moved to Ontario. Spent around 6-7 years there, moved to Calgary. At that moment, my daughter was in the pipeline of getting into kindergarten. So that's where I decided that if she's in a country which is bilingual, it is better to put her into a language that she would benefit from more.
So you both already spoke
Nope, I
two
have
languages?
We did. We
Yes.
have Urdu as my primary language, and then English, but hers is English and French, but she also speaks and understands Urdu.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it was a jump in, and I loved it. It was absolutely lovely.
So once you moved to Calgary, she
Absolutely.
started
She started in Calgary, yeah.
Okay, and did you learn French with her?
I'm trying. It starts from bonjour and comment ça va? But I'm trying. So hopefully in the next couple of years, my goal is to get really into French and learning it as a language. So I'd get there one day.
Good.
Yeah.
And Kristin,
Yes.
are you from Calgary?
I'm not from Calgary. I'm actually from all over Canada. I was born in Montreal, went to school in Montreal and Nova Scotia, and finished my education in British Columbia. And then we moved to Saskatchewan, my husband and I, when our children were little. And our children started school in Saskatchewan, and we moved to Calgary right after the floods, actually, in 2013. So we've been here 3 years now.
Okay. And were your parents Francophone?
No, my father is from Montreal. My father is very passionate about languages, and it was determined very early on that I would learn French regardless, and that was sort of always there. So I started French immersion when we moved to Montreal when I was in grade 4, and I finished all the rest of my education in immersion.
And your children are also
Now my
in
children are
immersion?
all in immersion as well.
Second generation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Yeah, so I now have a child in grade 8, or finishing grade 8, one finishing grade 6, and one finishing grade 5 this year.
So how did you get involved with Canadian Parents for French?
I actually got involved in Saskatchewan, and my children were little, and we were looking at our educational options in the small town we lived in, and I met a few other parents who were trying to get a Canadian parent or French immersion started, and they asked me to join the Canadian Parents for French board, and I became the treasurer, and now I'm the treasurer in Calgary. So you put a hat on and it's very hard to take it off sometimes. So.
Yes. Yes. Okay. And you mentioned to us earlier that your son went to the first French immersion school in Saskatchewan. Right?
Our Canadian Parents for French chapter actually founded French immersion in our community. It was Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan. And my son was a member of the first class of French immersion students. So it was a kindergarten grade 1 split. And he started in French immersion, and a lot of those kids are still in French immersion now. Some of us have moved away, obviously, we're in Calgary now, but they've stayed in French as we've moved to a larger center.
Was there a lot of convincing to do for your children to start school in French? Were they afraid? Did they want to at first, or how did that work?
Or did you pull a fast one on them and
Yeah.
just say, everybody does this?
Yeah.
My
There is
children
no
actually-
other school.
My children didn't realize other kids didn't learn French for a while. It took them a while to figure out that not everyone was learning French. Did you give your daughter a choice?
Well, no, when she was
Me neither.
no, but she took a while to grasp because she was speaking Urdu, English, and French in the same sentence, and then I would be like, But eventually, she got hold of it, and by grade 1, she was way better. Started reading books, which makes a huge impact on learning French as a language. So it started off quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, I always wonder, how if kids really are looking forward to that, or you need to give them a little push to start, because when we live in a English majority environment, so it's kind of a little more difficult.
Oh, for sure. I know I started French immersion in grade 4, and I was old enough to know that I wasn't good at French when we started. And my French is quite rusty, but I can use it. But my children started kindergarten, so they know no different. And learning French from such an early age, they weren't as shy or embarrassed to use the wrong word or to try something out. And kindergarten
Everybody
classrooms.
was the same.
Exactly. And kindergarten classrooms, by their nature, are incredibly animated. I'm sure kindergarten teachers are part mime, so they use so much in the classroom that the children just pick it up naturally.
Okay. So talk to us now a little bit about the chapter and what sort of things do you do as a chapter? What are you there for? Why do we have a Calgary chapter?
Well, I started the chapter in 2013, so the chapter was kind of at a bad stage, and there was me and another lady who stepped up and said that we will try to keep it in its position, and from there onwards step up the ladder.
Rebuild it.
Yeah, we did. We tried to. So we're still in the process. We have a great team along with us now, and we try every day. And me as the vice president, I shadow my president. I help her in organizing everything that needs to be done. When she's not there, then my role comes in place more, addressing to meetings
So
and
you
everything.
offer services or support to parents and schools, or how does that work?
It's kind of a little bit of both,
Yeah.
really. We've done offering support to parents. We've hosted some kindergarten informational nights, people looking to register their children in kindergarten, and sort of taking the mystery out of French immersion. A lot of people can be quite nervous thinking that their children won't understand anything. And let's be honest, kids in kindergarten don't understand half of what's happening anyway in the classroom, regardless of the language.
They're learning their maternal language
Yes.
partially at that
Exactly,
that time
and
anyway.
figuring out classroom routines. So learning to do that in French is just like learning to do it in English, lining up, keeping your hands to yourself, don't pick your friend's nose. It's all part of the learning. So we've offered
You're
some.
not supposed to do that?
Well, no, you're not. Sorry. But, we've offered some of those opportunities for parents to ask questions, and we've had some homework help
Learning,
offered to parents, because most people whose children are in French immersion, we're Anglophones. My husband speaks very little French, and our children come to me usually with their questions, but not everyone has a bilingual or close to bilingual parent in the home. And that's what French immersion is structured around. It's meant for families who are not necessarily native French speakers. And so we've done that. We've done a few community programs. We've done some, did a contest for children to win an opportunity to go to French immersion camp this summer, day camp. So that's really exciting. And so we've awarded 2 positions at.
What age group is that?
I believe the children who won, I think, are in the early elementary. I can't remember what grades specifically. So yeah, that's a prime day camp age too. You know, kids in grade 1, 2, 3, 4 love getting out and doing that sort of stuff. So it's fantastic. Great opportunity to stay fresh with your French through the summer as well.
And where is that camp that they go to?
It's in the city downtown in Calgary, but I know there's other bilingual camps or French immersion camps throughout the city. My children did one our first summer here, and that was Cité des Rocheuses, and they did a week of French immersion camp, which they really enjoyed as well. So there's lots of opportunities around to keep your French fresh.
So parents looking for that sort of thing, you don't have to win a contest.
You don't have to win a contest.
That's just
not at
getting
all.
in free when you win the contest.
Exactly, and free is fantastic, but there are other opportunities out there. In fact, I believe the Canadian Parents for French Alberta website has a list of some camps throughout Alberta and Saskatchewan and British Columbia to send your children to through the summer.
If you really want a break, yeah.
If you really want some time away from your kids, to send them to day camp or overnight camp.
Yes. And you've got events coming up as well. Do you want to
Yes.
talk a little bit about that?
The fall event that we have coming up is
You were saying you have an event for parents coming up in the
Yes.
in Canada, right?
Yes. Well, there's a camp.
I was thinking about.
for families.
Yes, there's
Sort of a provincial one,
That's
right?
a provincial,
yes.
provincially based, like a weekend family camp, which is a great opportunity for, again, speaking French. And I have found over the years that my children love to show off that they're better at French than their father and I. So it's a great opportunity to let your kids sparkle and show off their abilities. It's pretty fantastic to do events like that.
Do you need to make reservations for that weekend?
Yes, and I believe
It's
that's
on the provincial website.
the provincial website. Yeah.
Okay. Any other events coming up?
I know Catherine, who we'll be speaking with, has a really good list of them, and she can usually explain them all in French as well.
So let's talk a little bit about your volunteers. Are you still looking for volunteers?
Always looking for people to join the board and be a part of what we're doing. We are a very small group. For a large city, we have a very small chapter of dedicated parents who want to see French language continue. French immersion is very well supported in both the Catholic and the public school in Alberta, as well as being Francophone schools as well. So it's very easy to think that from an advocacy perspective that the parent involvement isn't necessary, but it really is. To show our children that we care about what they're doing in school. We have done some different fundraising events over the years as the Calgary chapter. We've done less more recently, but we do offer some subsidies and bursaries for students graduating high school to help them as they're leaving French immersion to continue into their post-secondary education as well.
Okay. And I was going to say, do you need to become a member of the chapter? If a parent has children in an immersion school, should they become a member of the chapter?
Well, we do want them to become members because
Definitely.
they get access to a lot of resources. But everybody's welcomed. We don't.
Is there a fee to become a member?
There is a fee to become a member, and one of the benefits with Canadian Parents for French is a good portion of those membership fees go back into your local chapter. So that helps fund things like bursaries for students and different events where we've supported, I believe it was Hidden Valley School, we helped support their, they had a festival in the spring that we gave some financial support to as well. There's been a few different programs we've done that for. A lot of the French immersion schools have like a Francophonie week where we've offered some support for some of their events.
Okay. And so that is about all of the time that we have for you ladies. We thank you very much for having been with us tonight. And for all those of you out there, we will be continuing en français.